Griffin the Griffin by BlackWing. Chapter 33. Other Side the Third. Finally reached Pittsburgh. I'm so glad we decided to go this way rather than pass through Stalingrad. I hear that place is just dreadful. Although it's no Canterlot, this city has its charms, Rarity began.
It's all steamy here, and all sorts of funny spinning wheels and shiny things.
Pinky was busy looking at her reflection in a large brass cog. Pittsburgh doesn't have any unicorns at all, so instead of magic, they built machinery. They even have their own style called steambuck, whatever that means. It's Equestria's capital of development in machinery and alternative power sources, Twilight read off a brochure. So basically, they use fancy mathematics to make fancy machines that do fancy things that unicorns would normally do? Applejack said the bare minimum of explanation. She received a nod from the lavender mare. Well, I'm all for ingenuity, but I don't have the patience for stuff like that. Still, gotta admire their determination to doing something the world tells them they can't. I just hope we get to see the Hindentanic. It's supposed to be Equestria's largest and most luxurious airship. Rarity cooed at the thought of the traveling hotel, spa, and the like.
Bah! Who needs flying machines when you got a good old Pegasus wings?
Rainbow Dash bragged as she flapped her cayenne plumes. But dear, we don't have wings, Rarity replied. There are also Pegasi who have been injured in their one way or another, and have lost their ability to fly. They build metal wings to restore flight, Twilight listed off. Fluttershy coughed softly.
It's really steamy here. It's a little hard to breathe.
Don't worry yourself one bit. You'll get used to it in due time.
A salty sea dog of a pony tried to reassure her, only resulting in her jumping and letting out an eep.
My apologies. I didn't mean to startle you. I just know I look scary. But I wouldn't hurt a fly. Unless that fly was a sky serpent.
The eye-patched one-winged Pegasus stepped forward, the scar across his left eye visible, as well as one along his right side. He also had a mechanical leg. His mane was matted, causing Rarity to almost gag from looking at it, and his coat was covered with patches where the fur had been burnt off. He spoke with a stern voice, rolling R's in a thick accent, saying shh where there should only be an S. Oh, hello. Tell me, do you know the road to Tailton Springs? Twilight asked.
What do you want to go there for? Spa's closed, you know, with the sky serpents about.
You mean the dragons? Twilight asked, Fluttershy letting out another eep.
Same thing. Sea serpents swim the sea. Sky serpents swim the sky.
The grizzled stallion deadpanned.
Right! We're heading there to capture the Griffin pirates. They won't know what hit them,
Dash exclaimed.
That's a good one. Couple of girlish sort of ponies like yourselves. One which who jumps when a stranger says hello, and another who's been trying to avoid the steam touching her mane like the plague going after them. Good luck, you'll need it.
Do you know him? Twilight asked.
Nah, just stories. I showed up in Wet Hoof with the troops about an hour before he left to deal with the Hydra problem. It turns out they're already taken care of. Mayor's office was in shambles. His desk was a shard puddled, and his door was kicked off his hinges. And the mayor himself, shaved bare with the word trash carved into his head. He's alive, but he's a nasty-looking scar. Every time he looks in the mirror, he'll know exactly what he thinks of him.
At which point Rarity and Fluttershy fainted. The fact someone would do something that cruel and to permanently scar someone's beauty was too much for the pair. But why?
Turns out the mayor wanted them to help with the Hydra problem, but ended up double-crossing him. Didn't take kindly to that, and he blew a gasket.
Lucky we didn't get on his bad side, eh, Pinky?
Dash said nervously as she gulped.
He's got more than one screw loose, that one. I'm not going to make you go home, but you want my advice? Go home. He's way out of your league.
Oh, he's not so bad. He's got a great sense of humor, although he turned down a party,
Pinky objected.
Well then, you seem to know what you're doing. I wouldn't be going to Tailton, no, if I were you. I'd head to Port Redstone,
the Pegasus advised.
Why's that?
Applejack asked.
'Cause Tailton Springs is no longer there. Dragons burned it down. I'm headed to port to pick up some stragglers trying to escape the flame. You're welcome to come with, if you have the bits for the trip.
Just exactly how are you going to get us there? Twilight wanted to know.
Aha! That, my dear, is the question.
The Pegasus put his metal hoof in his mouth, which had a built-in whistle, and a loud, high-pitched sound came from it. A gust of air, blowing the steam away, and a rusty but nonetheless magnificent airship floated up to the dock. It was weathered, several parts had patches over burnt spots, but nonetheless, it was solid. It looked like it had been through Tartarus and back several times, and had beaten the living hell out of whatever had tried to come after it while it was there. "You've got yourself a deal," Applejack and Twilight, both impressed at the work, decided immediately. "Name's Captain Sean Trottery, and this is my ship, the Red October." A week passed, and more or less the 6 ponies had settled on board the ship. Rarity was constantly explaining about how icky it was, but once the captain gave her the option of swimming the rest of the way, she decided to keep her mouth shut. Fluttershy spent most of her time with her hooves over her ears, as the constant clanking of the onboard machinery was quite loud. Twilight spent the majority of her time attempting to navigate and checking her charts, while Applejack spent it vomiting over the side of the ship, not being a fan of heights. Rainbow and Pinkie, however, were of great use, as the fantastic flyer ensured that they had smooth skies to sail on, keeping their path clear of clouds and such, while Pinkie, not surprisingly, made for a fantastic sailor. The uncanny ability to almost be anywhere at the ship instantly, her Pinkie sense helping them narrowly avoid an approaching dragon, and her culinary skills were all appreciated greatly by the crew of the Red October. As they approached the volcanic waste, the ship had to lower its altitude to avoid the ash clouds, and the 6 saw a great sight that disheartened them: the remains of Tailton, or the fact that there wasn't any. Rarity had actually been there once. The spa was fabulous, and the fact that she had been pickpocketed ruined the chances of her ever returning. All that remained of the hot spring was a pile of ash and a boiling pool of water, which had a sickening shade of red to it.
"That is from Killerhoof, the world's largest known active volcano. It's right at the center of the waste. It can be seen from anywhere. It draws lava constantly, and at least it doesn't spit it out. It lets it flow. Most of the dragons are up there. If we're lucky, they won't spot us as we make our descent to port. Now, lassies, are you sure you want to be going with this? I'm picking up some stragglers, and then I'm out of here. How do you plan on getting home?"
"We can handle ourselves," Applejack replied.
"Fair enough, but be warned. Neither dragons nor pirates are to be trifled with."
"Thanks for the heads up," Dash said. The 6 stepped off the airship and onto the scorched earth that the volcanic wastes were. A place Twilight, Dash, and Rarity had hoped to never see again. Fluttershy had a constant fit of soft coughing due to the less than pure air, while Applejack had to pull Pinkie away to stop her from touching a slow-moving lava flow because she thought the light it gave off in strange patterns was pretty.
"Why, it's hot enough here to melt your horseshoes,"
AJ remarked. "This is going to wreak havoc on my mane," Rarity added.
"I don't like it here,"
Fluttershy stated. After an hour, the Red October was loaded and took off, intent on leaving the danger zone as soon as possible and returning to its port of call. As it lifted into the sky, Pinkie's tail twitched, and the 6 felt their hearts stop in terror. Just as it sat below the black ash clouds, a green dragon sank below it, slicing its claws along the steel balloon frame, cutting it loose and sending it under the carriage, crashing it into the reeking sea, before flying off again. It sank the airship for no reason other than to delight its destruction. Hoping against hope that Sean Trotty and his crew would be all right, but knowing that there was nothing they could do to help them, they all gulped as they headed to one of the only remaining buildings that hadn't been destroyed, a truly massive concrete dome made out of 4 triangles on its hinges. It looked as though it could open up. It was so large, if they didn't know any better, they would have mistaken it for part of the mountain. "Well, I guess it's time to start looking for clues. See if anyone has seen them, and if anyone's left. This looks like a good place to start." As they entered the dome, a sudden draft of clean and, more importantly, cool air washed over them, a welcome change to the hot, dry filth they had been breathing for the past 3 hours.
"Oi! Close the doors, lassies! You're letting in the cold air out!"
Someone called in a distinctly Scottish voice. Twilight pulled the doors closed behind her, and the lights flickered on.
"Well, 6 ponies. What do you think you're doing here? Don't you know everyone's making for port to escape the blasted land? You'll best be doing the same."
They couldn't see where the voice was coming from. Hello? Where are you?" Twilight asked.
"All right, Can't very well see me with the lights off. With that, the lights flicked on, revealing an absolutely massive vessel. It was a ship, not quite the size of the Hindentanic in Pittsburgh, but then again, this wasn't a flying hotel, this was a warship. Holy sweet Mother Celestia! Applejack had to take off her hat to see the whole thing, or else the brim would have gotten in the way. Still looking for the voice, they noticed a rather cheery-looking Minotaur on top of it. Twilight's brain looked like it was about to fizzle out. The Scottish Minotaur, wearing a kilt and all, hopped down to the floor of the workshop. "Name's Steelhorn. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, especially a bunch of lovely lasses such as yourselves." He gave a blow.
My, such a gentle colt. Rarity was surprised to see a supposed monster acting with such a pleasant demeanor.
"It's true. I'm the world's most handsome and polite. But enough of me. What about you?"
Hello, Steelhorn. I am Twilight Sparkle, protege of Princess Celestia. I am Rarity, dress shop owner in Ponyville. I'm Applejack. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. She began to give off her usual hoof shake, which he surprisingly met. At the end, AJ felt like it was her leg that was going to fall off. Rainbow Dash, fastest flyer in Equestria and future Wonderbolt. Hi, I'm Peter Pie, and you're super duper nice, and we should totally throw you a party! Because I like meeting new friends, and every pony likes parties.
"Nice to meet you all. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weren't there 6 of you?"
He counted on his fingers. Dash stepped aside to reveal Fluttershy hiding behind her legs.
"Oh, well, if you ain't the cutest little pony I ever seen. So, what's your name, little one?"
He bent low to become less frightening.
I'm Fluttershy.
"Oh, sorry, I couldn't quite catch that. I'm a wee bit deaf from working in the machines all my life. Think you could speak up a bit?"
She's Fluttershy, and she's, as you might be able to guess, a little shy around new faces, Twilight intervened.
"Ah, think nothing of it. I know I got a scary face, but don't you worry one bit. I don't bite at all."
After the introductions were complete, Rainbow Dash couldn't help but gawk at the massive vessel behind them and whistle.
"You like? I built her myself. Only took 25 years. She sure is a masterpiece. I was almost afraid I wouldn't finish it, but luckily enough, I got everything I needed to finish it just in the nick of time. It's actually set to launch tomorrow. I'm getting down here before the volcano goes off."
The outer skin shimmered with every color of the rainbow, almost like a fish in clear water with the sun shining down on it. Why, it's beautiful! Such craftsmanship, such flair, such an intricate design. It's simply fabulous. What is it?
Rarity asked. "It's an airship," Steelhorn replied.
But it doesn't have a balloon. It's all flat and stuff instead of poofy.
Pinky reasoned. "That's because with the design, the balloon is inside the ship. It has a solid outer skin with the inflatable bag on the inside. The decks lift up on the shells to make it seamless with portholes and screens so you can still look out, as well as a specially designed weapon station. That's actually a last-minute addition, which I haven't installed just yet. Just got the designs for it, and I'll need to stop off at Equestria for a bit to pick up the supplies for it, and then I can replace the cannons. A genius came along and suggested it to me, and then told me he'd rent it. He paid quite a lot just to borrow it, considering he's going to be putting it to the test. Never would have thought to use it like that, so I gave him a discount."
Wow, that's amazing. I suppose you won't say because,
Twilight trailed off. "Trade secret, yup. This is going to revolutionize the way airships are built, I'll tell you that."
Right, now, to the business at Hoof. Before we get distracted any further, the reason we came here in the first place, we're looking for the Griffin pirates. Have you seen them?
"Friends of theirs?" Steelhorn asked.
You could say that.
"Well, I've seen them, in fact. They'll be coming over here sometime tomorrow to help with the takeoff. If you're willing for them, you could just stay here for the night," he offered.
Oh, no, we couldn't. I mean, not that we don't appreciate the offer, but...
Rarity began. "Oh, Philly Folly. I know it's hotter than the desert out there and twice as dangerous. Besides, you'd hate to leave and miss them when they arrive."
Well, if you insist...
Yay, an airship party!
Pinky yelled out.
"All right, welcome aboard. I'll show you to your rooms."
A plank was lowered, allowing the ponies to walk up it and into the air undercarriage. It was opulent, but it was by no means a dump. It was designed for functionality. After all, when on board, the carriage began to slide up into it, the lights flickering on as it did so. They saw a number of cat-like creatures loading things, moving them around, preparing for the takeoff the next day. They assumed them to be the ship's crew. And here we are. The lower decks are the residents. You'll be able to look out and see the sky through the armored portholes. Upper decks are machinery, engines, defenses, and the lot, as well as the bridge. Off limit to yacht. Don't need civilians running around up there. Besides, there's nothing to see. It's quite boring. You can go anywhere below the landing deck and nowhere above it. There's a main hall and a mess hall in case you feel the need for some room. Most of the time we'll be flying or opened up, so you'll be able to get some fresh air, and we'll be doing that over the ring sea. But if things get dicey, you'll go below deck and we'll close it. This completes the shell and makes it nigh impenetrable. We also keeping it up in the wastes. Don't want to go breathing for an ash cloud. Your feathered friend will have plenty of time with open skies once we are out in the open. The ship owner looked to see Rainbow Dash getting antsy. Just settle in and calm yourself. Even locked up, there's plenty of room to fly around. Don't need to stay rooted.
Oh, thanks, Celestia.
Dash immediately flew up and did a couple loops, being careful not to collide with any of the workers. So, who are they? Twilight asked, obviously wondering about the unknown species. Natives of the jungle. The one who's leasing the possibility and his crew at everything. Saves me on trying to find one. I can't operate everything myself. Good thing I didn't tell him that, or I'd have to give him another discount. Rarity seemed most displeased that the Minotaur was being so greedy. She'd never dream of doing something like that and ripping someone off. Despite his charm, he had the avarice of a dragon. Well, head below the decks and find some room for yourselves. Get a good night's rest. We're setting out in the morning. Are you sure this is okay? I mean, you're renting the ship back to somebody else, but letting us ride for a fare? Applejack asked. Hey, still my ship. I can do with it what I want. As long as we go where he says, say for making a stop at the equestrian port, which we both agreed upon, he's in no position to complain. The main six found rooms, 3 on either side of the hall, and settled into them, unpacking their things and writing their names on an erasable board on the door. They noticed several other names next to their rooms. Nadine and Maya sharing a room, Etch and Growlin another. These don't sound like pony names. Probably some of the crew. Really packing them in like sardines, that Steelhorn is, Rarity muttered to herself. She didn't bother going to the end of the hall, only interested in her immediate neighbors. If she had, she would have noticed the names, Trixie and Gilda, across from each other, with Griffins at the hall's end.